What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the show today. Um, there's a lot to go on to talk about. A lot going on. It's definitely regarding AEW. WWE Smackdown probably had one of their best shows in a long time. But before we get into that, let me introduce my boy Nick. Nick, how's it going?
It's going all right, man. How are you?
I'm all right. Just living another day.
Mhm.
On wrestling Twitter is fucking crazy. And I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, yes, it is. It is a very strange place.
Yeah. All right, and that's gonna go into the starting topic. This Tony Khan having Twitter fingers, going crazy, talking to everyone, all the trolls and everything. Just what's your thoughts on
I think any person who owns a company should take a lesson from this. Um, Never tweet directly at your competition like after losing to them in a ratings war that, in all honesty, really doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things. And then you're calling out legends of the business like John Cena and The Undertaker. Meanwhile, you're employing people who used to work with them back in the day, like Edge, uh, Brian Danielson, Chris
it?
Jericho, all those guys, and it's just a bad look, like, for them. And they had it after they fired Punk. It was like, okay, now it's time to get back on track. They had a good couple of shows. Now he is undoing all of that by having Twitter fingers over and arguing with people who have nothing to do with his products at all.
Yeah, yeah. This dude is. He's very passionate. Very passionate. I'll say that.
That is a nice way of putting it.
That is a very nice way of putting it. Cause like I feel kind of bad for the man. Like he's doing it to himself. Don't get me wrong.
Yes,
But like
absolutely.
you see, like his intentions are like good intentions, but it's just no, bro.
It's
It's
just
not it.
it just doesn't look good, like, at all. It's just like, dude, like, you you take it on the chin, okay, what am I gonna book next week? That's how people should look at it, you
Hmm.
know? But now he's like, "Oh, like, they had to get all these guys." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but, like, they're a developmental brand. They're gonna bring in guys to get, like, ratings, obviously."
Yeah, it's the third show.
Exactly. So it's like they're NXT is like Rampage. Like, people tune in and out, but it's like, okay, like Undertaker and John Cena are gonna be on. I have to watch this.
Yeah, people are
That's the
definitely
whole
gonna
thing.
check that out. Cause
Absolutely.
Tony just needs to learn how to be quiet. They need to like hire someone just to get him to just calm down.
I said this last time. He needs a conflict resolutions guy in his company. Like,
Yeah.
because or a therapist, one of the other, because he clearly got bullied or something, and he's
Mhm.
very insecure. And
Yeah.
I think, just get off Twitter for a little while. Don't tweet at anybody. Just promote. That's all. That's all you got to do. Or just hire somebody to book and you just run the goddamn company. That's all you should do.
That's all he should do, but he wants it all going through him, so it's annoying, yo.
It
Uh,
is.
Chad Gable should get signed by AEW. You know why? So he can tell Tony Khan this.
I as much as I would like to see Gable in AEW, I think he's fine where he is right now.
Yeah, he's 100% fine.
Yeah.
I love it. So, where do you see the company heading at this point? Because like everyone's saying it's cold. Even Meltzer saying
Mhm.
AEW is cold right now.
Well, I don't think the in-ring product has slowed down at all. I think the in-ring is still great,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem is they're not making any money because they're running in these big arenas and they're not selling out. And I'm assuming it's a hefty charge to pay for all of this, but he's recording
Yeah.
huge losses. And it somebody put this on Twitter and it makes a ton of sense. Do it like Ring of Honor used to do it, book like intimate, like like, quiet
Smaller
tenants.
venues.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
smaller venues
yeah.
like Daly's Place, all that stuff, because you can, or you could just run it out of Daly's Place for a little while. It's not the worst thing in the world, but the problem is they're booked throughout the end, like for a while with arenas. So they're like, well, we have to do these shows and then we can reassess. But they need to figure out something and quick, because if you keep losing money and you keep signing guys, you're gonna have to do a WWE cleansing of
Budget
the
cuts.
contracts,
Yeah,
because some of these guys are probably making, I'm guessing, like not like Jericho or Omega or those guys money, but they're making like 200,000 probably up there.
yeah.
And that adds up. That's like probably at least like $5 or $6 million paid the guys who could probably be pushed. But you got to sell out arenas.
You gotta cater to the casual fans. Like
Exactly.
you have
That's why
to.
that's why I think Edge came in, because he's a name, and he
Yeah.
can help the wider audience.
But I've seen what's it called? He hasn't been like much of a ratings pull.
That's
Like,
yeah, that's another thing. It's like
but
they need that hook. They just need that
mhm.
one guy that they can hit the mainstream, but they just don't have that right now, because
They had CM Punk.
that's they had CM Punk, but CM Punked himself, and now
CM
he's
Punk.
off to do whatever he's gonna do, whether that's gonna be returning to WWE or going to TNA or whatever.
TNA.
Yeah,
That
but
would
we'll
be great.
we'll we'll see what happens with that. But I think what AEW needs to do is finish out the year strong. You have Full Gear coming up. Put on some great TV shows. Put on a great pay per view. Then when you get to like March, start reassessing and see where you want to go from there.
Yeah, I think they were trying too hard to be kind of similar to WWE, and like the
Hmm.
difference just showed so much, like how bad it was with their like. I don't know about you, but I think like the Adam Cole and Roderick Strong videos that
It's
they're having,
yes.
they're cringe. I don't like them. I don't
It
think they're
You
funny
know what
at
it
all.
is? It's um I like Adam Cole a lot, and I
Yeah.
think I don't mind what he's been doing, but it's also like, the most of the AEW fans are on the internet. They're all on the internet, most of them.
Mhm.
And they would bash WWE for doing a skit like that, but they praise it for like, oh, it's so funny and like all this stuff. But it's like when they came out
The
in
difference is
2019,
though, I would say if WWE did it, it would be better produced.
yes, that's the whole thing.
And it
It's not
wouldn't be silent. That
no,
was a silent
no.
video.
The oh god, the audio issues.
Yeah.
It's just it's been coming off like an amateur, like, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but like it just shows
Mhm.
off like an amateur hour thing, like with
Yeah.
Tony Khan's thing and the audio issues. I get it. It's not their fault that the audio is cutting out, but Tony Khan can definitely help himself. Like
He can.
not tweet at bots and like like it's just so mind boggling that a guy who runs a whole company is just so insecure that he cannot let a rating he cannot let it go. It just boggles my mind. Like it
He's a mark for himself.
I
That's
know he
what I
is a
think.
mark for him. He wants to be Vince, but it's just not
Yeah.
going to happen.
Definitely not.
No,
Yeah. So I think if they just focus on the wrestling, focus on what made them them,
absolutely,
just
absolutely.
yeah, like. But the thing is with that, people liked AEW more because like they hated Vince McMahon. Now,
Yes,
now Vince isn't there anymore, and Triple H is running the show.
yeah,
It's kind of like, yeah, this is the alternative now. Like Triple H
like
is an alternative to Vince.
absolutely. Because you know what it was? It was everybody loved NXT, and then I think what the problem that ended up happening was people would come up from NXT and they get buried, and everyone's like, "All right, so screw this,
Mm,
and I'm just gonna watch NXT." And then AEW came out, and it's like, okay, I don't have to watch WWE, so I can still
yeah,
watch both. And then they did the Wednesday Night Wars, which wasn't even really a war; it was AEW kicking their ass.
yeah.
But I still think AEW was really, really good when it first came out, and even into the COVID. I thought it was great because you know what? It was spotlighting indie guys that
Mm-hmm.
don't have a platform for this,
Yeah.
And then I get it. You want to bring in guys who can sell tickets, but when you came out, you were the alternative. You weren't going to be competition with them. And now you're kind of like Tony Khan is kind of like, I want to be in competition with them, but you shouldn't want to do that because it's not.
No.
Once you start booking based on what the competition is doing, then you're going to lose because
Yeah.
you are not focusing on your product. You're focusing on their product more than your
Mm-hmm.
own. So I don't know. I think if they get back to what got them popular in the first place, like bring in a couple of guys like they did with Moxley and Jericho, get some name recognition. But again, now you have Edge. You can get maybe some guy leaves the WWE. Maybe it's Drew McIntyre or somebody like that. And then you can have him be like a little like John Moxley in that sense of the way. But I think they got a long way to go to get back to where they were, like in
Yeah.
the graces of the fans, at least.
A long way to go. A long way. But I mean, if Tony does the right thing and get people in the right places, he has the right resources. He shouldn't be
Absolutely.
another Eric Bischoff. He
No,
shouldn't
he
be
shouldn't.
another Dixie Carter. He should know from like the past experiences like these people had. And he
Absolutely. Look
and
what happened to
it's crazy.
WCW.
Yeah.
They folded because they signed too
Oh,
many people.
save TNA. They got
Yeah.
Hulk. They got all these other
And
guys.
then they had to, and then cutting AJ Styles' money by 60%. It's like, okay, let's just alienate the best wrestler that we've ever had, and then let him go to New Japan. Okay,
Yeah, just for older stars.
exactly.
That's
It should be a cautionary tale, like it should have been a cautionary tale for what he was doing, but I don't know. He's got to get off Twitter. That's the main thing about this whole thing. Stay off Twitter. Listen to Danielson because he knows social media is a trap. Do not go on there to tweet at stupidity at people who don't matter in your life because it's not going to get you anywhere.
yeah.
It's going to make you look like a jackass for arguing with people who don't matter like at all.
So Tony Khan, take it from us, man. Here's what you need to do.
Yeah. He had Gable's words, Tony.
Shoosh, man. Shoosh.
The shoosh.
All right. So enough with AEW. I want to get into. Did you watch SmackDown?
I did. I was very.
Okay.
It was solid.
Solid show, right? So
Very solid.
let's talk. What do you want to talk about first? All right, we got the Kevin Owens trade. We got the Nick Aldis move. The Jay Cargill showing up. A lot of things are going on. LA Knight versus Roman.
You know what got me the most excited? Like there was a bunch of stuff on the show that made me like really excited for what's going to happen down the line. Nick Aldis being the GM for SmackDown was a great idea. Yeah. A great idea. Because, and I understand why they did it. Because let's be honest, nobody watches NWA and knows who Nick Aldis is, except for people who are like us and watch other wrestling.
I remember him from Impact. I didn't even really watch him in NWA.
He was in NWA. He is great on the stick. He is great on the mic. Getting him over as a GM is probably the best thing they could do because it introduces him to the audience. He already had a great one-liner with Dom, and it's gonna. Yeah. And once he, somebody's gonna get him out of the suit and get him into the ring, which is great.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's young. I mean, for the wrestling business, he's young. He's only 37, and he's still got a lot left. I think getting him in that role is so crucial because it shows like how they're maneuvering people now. Like it's like, okay, we don't have to sign everybody, but we're gonna make smart signings like him. Like we're gonna get him over our way and not like through internet, like just shove him down your throats kind of a thing. Like
like you should know who this is.
Like exactly. Like when because they cater to the casual audience more than anybody. And getting him over slowly and then like, oh, this guy can wrestle, and this guy was like, oh my God, this guy's great. Like this guy's a beast. Like that's the best thing, I think. And
we're gonna see him versus Austin Theory or Grayson Waller.
Yeah, one of those guys. It's gonna be one of those guys on like a B pay-per-view or the Royal Rumble. He's gonna show up and he's gonna pop up in the Rumble.
It just kicked their ass. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be fun seeing all this there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been saying sign him since he hit free agency. Then he had him in the
Mhm.
producer role, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And then it came out that he was going to be a producer. He was going to be an on-screen authority figure. I'm like, that's great idea. Great
M-
idea.
My thought was that Triple H did that to like kind of sneak him in under Vince's nose. Like, all right, we're
Yes.
not gonna bring him in as a talent. We're just gonna bring him in as a producer. Wink, wink.
Hmm.
And then now he has more power. It's like on
Yeah.
second thought, be the
He's
GM.
like, yep,
Yeah.
this guy's going to be a good GM because
Hmm.
and he's a great promo. So that alone, you should make him fine because like, as long as you're a GM and you can cut a promo, you're fine. So
Yeah,
he's in a great spot.
yeah, he's in a great spot. Speaking of spots, what spot do you see Kevin Owens being now that he's on SmackDown?
See, as much as I love Kevin Owens, I think there's not many top heels on SmackDown to work with
Mhm,
that he hasn't worked with already. I think if it was like a guy from Raw, like who can become somebody like I don't know, like there's a bunch of guys there, but like he makes the most sense given this ongoing storyline with Cody and Jay and all that.
mhm,
And you can see like down the road him being mad that he got traded. He's like, "Why am I traded for this guy? Like this is ridiculous. Like I fought against this guy and now I have to go to SmackDown."
yeah,
But the only guy I can see him really messing like around with and like is Karrion Cross, like top level heel, try and elevate Karrion Cross because he's worked with Roman so much that it's like, all right, I don't want to see that anymore. I kind I don't know. It's very tough because again, SmackDown is like the up and coming show where a lot of guys are like, "Oh, like these guys might be something, but we're not sure about them right now."
yeah,
There's like, there's the LWO, there's like the Street Profits, there's Cameron Grimes, Theory, and all of those guys. Like, I think he could be a good foil to Waller in theory, but also
yeah,
and help that like he can I think at this point in his career he's about to turn 40. It's like it's probably his time to like start get using his name to get over younger guys.
mhm,
Him, Waller in theory would be a good pairing in the interim, and then maybe Karrion Cross goes after him at some point. But I don't know. I I like it for storyline reasons, but I don't know in ring wise who he's gonna wrestle that at this point.
yeah. That's what I was questioning too. Like, I was like, there's not many heels for him to go against. But then it got me thinking maybe they might turn KO heel, maybe or like a tweener role, kinda, or
He could play the
kind of like
tweener
what
role
Drew's
pretty
doing,
well.
but
Yeah,
like you
I
know,
I think he could be like the anti-hero kind of thing, but LA Knight is also filling that role on SmackDown
yeah,
too, so that's the problem. But I think KO can KO's so good, like he can get anything pretty much over. So
yeah.
I think he'll be fine in the long run, but we'll see. I think it means more to the company to have two top single guys than a big tag team.
Yeah.
Because now with DIY back, they got a bunch of tag teams. So I think they were like, all right, let's give them this match on Raw with Cody and Jay, and then let's have them separate because they don't want them to turn on each other for like the 15th time, and then it gets stale
Mhm.
like it usually does. So it,
Yeah,
it does make sense in that way to break them up like that instead of having KO turn heel or Sammy turn heel when neither of them should be heel at this point. They
yeah,
should both be
they
babyface.
shouldn't turn on each other.
No,
Nah,
no.
I just thought because everyone assumed that it was gonna be Cody, so I thought they kind of gave us a little swerve, but like, oh, it's
Hmm.
KO. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. There could be
Yeah.
some feuds with that, so
Mhm.
it's fine.
I yeah, I mean, he's still a draw. People are gonna watch him no matter what. So I think he'll be fine. It's just a question of who his first feud's gonna be with, how long he's there, and then we'll see what happens from there. Because he might just go back to Raw at the end of when they ever do a draft again, and then just have Sammy and KO reunite like that when they cooled off a little bit more.
And what are they gonna do for War Games now? I thought War Games was gonna be Sammy, KO, Cody, and I guess Jay versus like the
So
Judgment Day or some
I
shit.
think what they're going to do is it's gonna be Sammy. Oh, unless they do a 6-man War Games match, and they have because they have that thing with the bloodline now. So it'd be Priest. Well, it'd
Yeah.
be the Judgment Day, Solo, and Jimmy, and then it'd be Cena, LA Knight, Cody, Jay, Sammy, and then one more guy. And then people are speculating it's going to be Randy Orton. It might be CM Punk. It might be one of those two guys. So we'll see what happens there.
If they do that, holy smokes.
I mean,
if they got Cena in the War Games.
because Cena's there for as long as the strike lasts. So if the strike lasts up until like December, he might do War Games just to give because let's be honest, John Cena in War Games, that's worth the price of admission alone. You see him in War Games, like this
just
iconic
to see him, man.
gimmick match. Yeah, exactly. And to see Randy Orton come back, that would be great. CM Punk return, but I doubt that happens.
Yeah. That would be awesome. But
yeah.
Speaking of comebacks, we got to talk about my guy that debuted, my boy Carlito, Caribbean Cool, came right back, and it looks like he's feuding with Bobby Lashley and the Profits. What are your thoughts about that? Where do you see that going?
I think Carlito is one of those guys from obviously that era of 05 to 2010 where it's oh yeah, younger guys who like us know who he is, but this is a good feud to get him back reintroduced into WWE. Great. The only critique I have of his return is his god awful theme music.
Yeah, I don't know
and them changing the I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. That was such a great theme song.
Yeah.
And I think Carlito is in a good spot. He's with the LWO. He's not going to be asked to do much as of right now because, they're going to have the LWO probably do the bulk of it so he can get back in the ring shape. But I think it's a good move to bring him back. He's a good mid-card guy. Probably could get a mid-title US or Intercontinental title run at some point. Because he's another guy who can elevate the younger talent, so I think it's a great move bringing him back. I loved it. Everyone also wanted Dragon Lee, and I get that that's the popular choice at the moment because he just debuted. But it made sense for the overall story that Carlito came back, and then they gave him the platform instead of Dragon Lee because Dragon Lee I think is going to be fine no matter what. But they're trying to get the LWO over as a big stable. That's how you do it. You'd have two recognizable guys on the other three. You just elevate. That's how I think it should go.
Yeah, that's how it should go. I don't really know who goes over in this feud though, because I want to see Lashley and the Profits, do their thing. But I want to see Carlito get his first win if he's going in the feud.
Well, I think that's the good thing about this feud is that they didn't do Lashley Carlito right away. They're going to do Santos versus Montez Ford on next Friday. So you can have Montez go over in that match and then have Carlito go against Dawkins or somebody where they don't really lose much. It's like, oh, they ate a pin. It's fine. But again, I'm not a fan of the booking either. Because I don't think it should have been Waller in theory, but again, they only have two guys. So that was the whole problem. Or it could have been the Judgment Day. They could have feuded with the Judgment Day, but I think they wanted to move on from that because Dom and Ray's feud and everything. So it's just the only stable there. So they had no choice. And they just started this partnership with Lashley. And it's kind of like if they get pinned constantly, why would they want to do this stuff?
Yeah, that's why I could see something where it's like maybe Carlito loses the feud to Lashley or whatever, and maybe because I think Carlito's better as a heel. So
yes,
maybe
I think so too.
Maybe in a way like he can turn the LWO against Ray or something like that somehow. I don't know. Something that'll get him back to heel. Because I think that's why they took away the theme music.
Yes.
The crowd's gonna pop for him. They're not gonna want to hear
Exactly.
him spitting on the face of people and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see though.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be fine. I mean, again, he's not going to be asked to like, oh, you have to work a main event match tonight. He's not going to be ever. He's not going to be a main event guy at this point.
Yeah.
He's 43. You know, he's going to be used as a mid card guy who's a well enough recognizable name that people know who he is. So, and he's in a good spot with the LWO. He's in a good stable. He's going to get good storylines. He's fine. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this moment when the show started. Let me just hold on. My man, L.A. Knight. Oh my gosh, him and Roman toe to toe, and Cena just in the background like a little cheerleader. He's just in the background cheering. Like, who's that guy on AEW? On Lucha Brothers, the one that's always dancing in the background.
Crap, what is that guy's name? I know who you're talking about too. I forgot his name. I think it's like Alex something.
Alex Ibrahantes or something.
That's what it was. That's who he is. Yeah,
that's what I thought when I saw Cena.
I'm just seeing Cena like in the background, just taking it all in, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, like this is great."
And it was a good sight to see, like, someone going crazy for it. Like, you have Roman Reigns in the ring, you got John Cena in the ring, but everyone was cheering for L.A. Knight. Oh man!
And you know, it's the craziest thing is a year ago, this man was in a goddamn horrible gimmick, and everybody thought this poor guy, he's going to be another one of these Vince McMahon cast-offs. That great guy got a horrible gimmick when he came up to the roster. Then Triple H takes over and is like, all right, enough of these stupid gimmicks that nobody wants to see. We're going to push LA Knight like he's supposed to be pushed. And he's probably the number 3 or number 2 most over guy in the company now, because he's just like, you know what it is? It's like, and I hate comparing him to them, but it's a throwback to the Attitude Era and this guy, how he cuts promos and who he is and like how he works in the ring and all that stuff. And it's so gratifying to see now that it's like, it's not going to be like, like we tell you who to like that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's like, finally we could, like, a crowd reaction could dictate changing the plans. But although I cannot see him beating Roman because of what else happened on SmackDown.
Yeah, no shot.
I think, but I do think though he can win the Royal Rumble and he can challenge Damian Priest for the world title, because that is more believable of him beating Damian Priest than him beating Roman Reigns right now.
Yeah, I can see that against Priest. My thing is, I want Priest to go against Finn. I got this whole thing where Finn and I want them to bring that Judgment Day, like that little feud they have, into Mania.
Yes.
I want that to.
I wish I know people, and I agree. Like, and I think they should have done this. I want to see Priest and Finn too, but I wanted to see Finn beat Seth and then Priest cash in on him right away, because that would have been such a better story to tell than, you know, Seth. Like, you know, Seth had a decent feud with Nakamura. That was fine. But I think having Finn and then a new guy, like a guy who hasn't been world champion yet, and that feud carry them into Crown Jewel and Survivor Series, that type of stuff. But I think Seth's going to keep it for a little while. I don't know. I don't know. But now that him and Drew are going to do Crown Jewel, I don't want to see Seth with the title past November, because I think he's better off like not in the title picture during WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then he can do like other stuff. He can work like a dream match against somebody, you know. But I think
CM Punk.
Yeah, that's what everybody's thinking is going to happen, but we'll see what happens. But I think Priest will probably cash in on him soon, because you could tell, like, in the Judgment Day, like, he's getting it. Especially if they lose Monday, against Jey Uso and Cody,
Mm-hmm.
he's probably going to cash in at Crown Jewel or something, probably even closer to that, because he's probably just going to be like, whatever, I want gold.
Yeah, I want Priest to have a lengthy run.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind, like, I want it. I want Finn and Priest. I wouldn't mind if Finn is the face or Priest is the face, because I think you can go either way with that.
I think Finn's a better babyface than he is a heel.
Yeah, he definitely
And
is.
Priest can definitely Priest is a good babyface, but he's a much better heel. So I think Finn being the babyface would be better because Finn can fight from underneath. Priest is so big that it's like, okay, how does this guy fight from underneath? He's 6'8", you know, he's not gonna fight from underneath ever. So I think I don't know. They got a lot of good booking in their back pocket. They have a lot of good matches they can book. Like
Yeah,
a lot
and
of
Triple H might actually do it, unlike some other people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which is crazy. But yeah, so LA Knight's probably gonna lose at Saudi Arabia,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they're gonna keep his like momentum alive.
Yeah,
Give him
because
another feud with someone else.
yeah, they're not gonna let him get buried. And
No,
but people who say, "Oh, he's gonna get buried by Roman," it's not getting buried. He's
it's
just gonna if he
not.
has a competitive match against Roman, that's gonna do more good than harm because it'll be like, oh, this guy can hang with the top level guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
And all of Roman's matches, we know he was gonna win, but the matches themselves, they were all good to like tell the story. They were compelling to where it's
yes,
like, oh, he might actually lose, like with Drew at Clash at the Castle, Kevin
yes,
Owens, even Logan Paul, like all these guys, they're still
yeah,
putting up compelling matches to like to state like to
absolutely.
move that
Mhm.
belief of like, oh, they could actually win the match, you know.
I think, yeah, and my favorite, like obviously, I love the Drew match. I thought, I think Drew was the one. Drew and Cody were the two where I'm like, he's definitely losing here.
Yeah, me too. That's
Like
what I'm like.
Cody, I was like, if there is no way they let this all time this ultra white baby face like lose to Roman in the main event of WrestleMania, and then it happened. I was like, how does that happen? But it makes sense. It
He's a
does make
tribal
sense.
chief, man.
Exactly. But I think I thought Cody was going to do it, and it suspends your belief. Like to your point, it's like he's going to do it. He's going to beat Roman, and then he
Mhm.
doesn't beat Roman, and you're just sitting there like, what? Like, come on,
That's
like,
that's yeah,
and
that's when it's the
that's what
best,
keeps
yo.
and that's what honestly it keeps you coming back. It's like, okay, who's going to beat him now?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Tony should take some pointers with that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Although when he tries to long-term book, then his top superstar then goes on a tirade about his business partner. So I don't think long-term booking is something Tony Khan's going to try to do again.
he's not. They're still trying to get Hangman Page out of like the graveyard, bro. He's his long term story still didn't finish.
Yeah. Hangman could be like very frustrating to watch at times because he's stuck in like this rut. But he's still, I mean, he puts on entertaining matches, but it's like,
All the
okay,
time.
it's the same thing. It's like, okay, depressed cowboy. Do like just turn heel or turn into like an anti-hero and just start beating the crap out of people.
He
You
should
know?
turn heel. When in doubt, just turn heel, bro.
Exactly.
Just get heat.
Unless you're Cody and then you just, you just stay babyface and then let the
Oh,
crowd just boo you.
yeah.
And then just go to the competition.
Go to a different company. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
That's
Oh man. Yeah, so where do you see the direction heading with Triple H now in charge?
I think because what was it? You were I think what was it? The report came out that like he's been knighted by Endeavor. So he's like the guy that they're going to listen to. The only time Vince will be in charge is stuff about Roman and stuff about Brock. That's because they apparently requested that he handles their creative, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're seeing it with NXT. It's like people can cross over to NXT now, and it's not like, oh, like this is beneath them. Like it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like
Yeah.
this is cool. Like John Cena looked like he was having fun with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams
Yeah, and
backstage.
dragging off and
it's like it's not going to be like, oh, it's developmental. It's going to be like, okay, these are like the guys who are going to take. Yes, these are the guys who are going to take us into the next generation of talent, like Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Dragunov. Those guys. Those are the guys who are probably going to be the face of the company in the next 5 years once all these guys retire or get older.
Yep, Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez.
They have a lot of them.
They have a lot of good people. But I think Triple H is going to make it like his vision. Like it's going to be all one interconnected brand instead of like, like Vince did. And it was like NXT was like, oh, I don't watch that. I just watch my stuff. And it's like, no, dude, you got to watch NXT because you'll know how these guys got over in NXT. But I get it. Like it's WWE is casual viewing. NXT back in the day was not. You had to be a hardcore fan to watch the takeovers and stuff. And then it's like, how do you explain to somebody who wants to get into wrestling? It's like, oh, you really got to check out this developmental brand. But, oh, the developmental brand is better than the actual wrestling. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's like, it's like so cool because like these guys are going to come up and they're going to be good. And then they're not good. And then the guys are like, well, why? Well, why'd you tell me to watch this? These guys suck. But I think his vision with what the creative team and the wrestlers they have, it's going to be fine. I think it's still like this is the hottest they've been since the 90s. Like they're selling out everything. So I think you're going to see a lot. And the product has reflected Triple H's thing too, because it's like, it's not the same match over and over again. Like, I mean, there could be times where it's like a little repetitive, but it's like, it's not to the point of like, okay, this is like, it's progressing stories. It's not just stopping them dead. And then it's just like, it's done.
Yeah.
And they're pushing new guys, it's not the same 3 freaking people. Like the worst trend of the last like 5 years was when they had no main event guys and they would just put the belts all in one like single feud, like with Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and McIntyre against the Shield, and all of the titles are in one feud. I'm like, you are just like destroying this because nobody can get over because there are no titles to defend because you're all in one big storyline.
Yeah, it's good thing those days are behind us.
Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, that's what I forgot to ask you about. We forgot to talk about the Jade Cargill appearance with Charlotte. That feud is gonna. I think Charlotte's gonna put Jade over so well.
I think even though I dislike Charlotte Flair a lot, she is probably bar none the best worker on their roster, and she can get like. Listen, as much as I love Jade Cargill, she is still green.
Yep.
She is very limited.
Yep.
If you put her with Charlotte, a general who can help her through her first match, and then get her over as this like destructive force, like who's gonna beat Jade. I wouldn't have her win the Royal Rumble because I think that's just not a good idea. But I think I would personally, I would have her first match be with Charlotte at Survivor Series. Or like because to get her like the debut on a big pay-per-view. That's because if you look back at the history of Survivor Series, a lot of big debuts have come on there. So I think that's the right place to debut her. Even though they're kind of like they're taking their time. They're like, all right, we can't really. She's still green, but if we give her Charlotte, then it'll still be entertaining, and she'll get all of her shit in, and it won't be that awful.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's probably gonna be the best. It's probably gonna be the best match we've seen her had ever.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the reason, like, and this is the whole thing. Everyone's like, oh, like the only reason they're pushing her as a star because she came from AEW. I'm like, yes, but she never worked. The problem with her being in AEW was she was green and she was a TBS champion. She had the Goldberg streak, but she didn't really work with the top women there. She worked with the only one was really Athena and Statlander. Those are the only two.
I mean, I would argue Athena's probably their best worker.
Athena's probably the best worker, and they didn't even really have a good match.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she didn't have like any feuds there that was like
Oh, I have to tune in and watch.
Besides, like, the baddies, like, that there was
That
no,
was
like, real feuds where it's like, "Oh, okay, like, I have to see this."
Yeah, her first feud was with Cody and Shaq.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
like,
well, no, Shaq. No, she was with Shaq. She wasn't feuding with Shaq. Never mind.
she's feuding with
But
Brandy, and then she wrestled Red Velvet instead of Brandy,
yeah,
and
and then it was just like then it was just her undefeated streak. So I mean, Jade's a star. Like she has the look of
the
every
look,
like she
yeah.
has the look of a star. So you can I honestly Survivor Series would probably be my date like for her to debut because you just have her win the match with Charlotte, big pay-per-view, one of the big four. Get her on there, mainstream public sees it, and then you're good to go. Strap the rocket and watch it go.
Yeah, I
Although
think
she has to be on Raw because there's just too many people on SmackDown.
yeah, a lot. I think Jade's gonna be a big help for WWE. I think she's gonna
Mhm.
bring in that cool crowd that, like, that's kind of been lost in wrestling. Like
Yeah,
she might be sitting next to like a lot of big names in like pop culture
ex-
and stuff like that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. You could just do that too. Just have her sit in the crowd like they used to do in NXT.
yeah, definitely. But
Mhm.
I'm gonna wrap up here.
All right.
All right. So thanks for being here, Nick.
Of
Hopefully you come
course.
back again, man.
All right.
And I hope everyone who watches this video likes and comments and subscribes. And hopefully we'll get to do more. So I'll see you guys later. Signing off. Peace.